Secondary reason. This is a lesson to all of you. No matter what I do and no matter how much I've accomplished, one of the ways in which I learn best is to put myself in unique circumstances, to create new insights. So I go to wherever I can be of service. That's what I do. Now I have a limited, finite amount of time on this earth, so I can't go to everywhere where I can be of service. I have to go to the places where I can be of the most service. Yeah. And I'm in the service of creating successes. I'm at a weird point in my business right now where it's been easier than ever for me to make money, and I have to try less than I've ever tried. It's creating a little bit of a spiritual crisis for me. It really is. I'm like, what do I do with my life now? Because I'm used to just beating it up and squeezing it till it drips blood and, oh, God, you know? And now I don't have to kill myself anymore to make $1. And the reason why is because, I do deals with people like this last individual we're doing a deal with right now. He sat on a webinar I did in 2014. He was broke, bankrupt. He started a business. And then he, for a variety of different acquisitions, has now sold over $500 million of supplements in the last 9 years. And he comes to me, I'm on his wall of fame. He has a wall of fame in his headquarters, and I'm on there, right? And he says, you want to do a deal? Here's what I got. That's how I get business these days. I make people millions of dollars, and then they come to me. It's a pretty cool model, but it took me 15 years to get there, right? So I'm working less hard than I've ever worked and having more impact than I've ever had, but I'm always planning the tree for the shade that I want tomorrow. I'm always digging the well today before I'm thirsty. And so I see, how do I create the most success stories? That's my success. The marketing is nice. It's the gift wrap. What's inside the package? That's what also matters. So we try to do both. So I'm here today to be of service to you. My only agenda is to give you ideas that will transform into successes that will allow you to be the number one in your position. So then if you come to me later on and say, let's do a deal, you're already number one. Because I can take number one and blow it up much easier than I could take number two and try to make them number one. You feel me? Okay? So that's why I'm here. Now here's another reason why I'm here. Secondary reason. This is a lesson to all of you. No matter what I do and no matter how much I've accomplished, one of the ways in which I learn best is to put myself in unique circumstances, to create new insights. It's hard. If you can only look at a problem one way, how hard is it to solve that problem? You got to get lucky, right? You got to hope that one way that I look at this one problem is going to be the solution. How do you find a way to look at a problem from more than one perspective? There's a lot of ways to do it. The number one way to do it is through an experience, right? So if I put myself in a variety of different circumstances and I can see things from a variety of different perspectives, then I can be successful. If I pay attention. So I got to put myself in there, and then I got to pay attention. That's what I got to do, right? I had a client, her name is Annis, and she is a gender intelligence expert, number one expert in the world at it. There's your number one. That's the types of clients I work on. And she showed me a study where in a boardroom for Fortune 500 companies, the more diversity they have in the boardroom, the more likely their stock is to go up. Because they can look at something from a variety of different perspectives. And then holistically, they can come up with better solutions than one perspective. Gone are the days where one perspective could rule through oppression or through suppression or because of the reason that people couldn't have a voice. Nowadays, everybody can have a voice. It's got mixed results, right? Some people you shouldn't have a voice, right? But at least you have the opportunity now, and there's work to be done. There's no doubt about it. But I try to put myself in unique perspectives so I can gain unique insights, which makes me more useful for solving problems. So one of the reasons I like webinars, and webinars are inconsequential. When I came here and I was told multiple times, and I kept forgetting, so I had to be retold again, right? Is quick question, who here has done a webinar before, right? Because I was led under the impression, I'm usually led under this impression, that most people aren't doing webinars. Most people that aren't doing webinars anymore aren't in business anymore. That's just the way that it is, right? But nonetheless, it's like webinars may be too specific for some of you, maybe not applicable. Some of you, it won't be applicable in your business. The webinar is a function of strategic positioning. One of the ways that I learned more about my audience was being on webinars and sitting on them for 4 or 5 or 6 hours with 50, 60, 70 people. You learn more about somebody in that situation than I don't know any other way to do it. You say, you want to buy this? They say no. You say, how come? And then they give you some answer. That isn't even true, right? Which is good. Why do they do that, by the way? I wish, right? Sometimes they do it because they don't trust you. They sort of trust you, but not enough to really intimate to you what's really going on. Because they've done that before. They put themselves in a position of vulnerability, and guess what happened? They got hurt. They got exploited. So they're like, you're saying all the right words, and you're making sense, but I've had people do that before. So you say, why don't you buy? And they give you some reason, and you say, is that the reason, or is it something else? And you start to work with them to help them work it out. And then maybe they say, okay, this is interesting, this is different. Then you work on them longer, then you work on them longer. And then I'll tell you half the reason I win in this business, it's not because of technique, it's because I quit last.